Hello, and welcome back to another episode on Spiritual Advice from the Barbarian Lunatic. Now, this is how I would introduce my podcast, of course. Somewhere along those lines, it varies. Anyway, the necessary amount of advertisement tells me I should at least mention that my entire podcast is already planned out till the 29th of December every week. There's a guaranteed episode. What more can you ask, right? It's like, woohoo! You can find these episode titles. They're not in the order that they will be released, but in the order that they were recorded. So if, for example, let's say number 138 comes before 120, then it's simply because it's the order of recording and not the order of release. And to do this, I follow my feeling. I go within myself and I have a certain topic, just as I have the feeling now I want to record more YouTube videos again. And I was trying to think about what to talk about, and the only thing I want to talk about is truth. And truth is anything that you feel like is right on the inside, but also things you have confirmed through experience. Some experiences create a lot of fear and uncertainty within you, such as maybe you've been bitten by a dog once, or maybe you've been, you can use that word, betrayed by a loved one that claimed to love you and then took a dagger of truth, you can say that, and because the promise to love you was not real, so it was just a lie, and the dagger of truth then broke your heart, but it actually opened it more, but you think it's painful. Yes, seeing truth is painful, and looking at society will show you a lot of truth, and it will show you a lot of fear. And then people come with terms like solidary, and they say, because we are all afraid, you have to do the same thing now, because for us our fear is very real. And then you say, but it's your fear. So if you're afraid of dying in a car accident, then I'm not allowed to drive cars anymore. So if you live out the fear of other people, it means you give them the feeling that their fear is justified. So the best way of showing them that their fear is unjustified, because you don't have that fear unless you tap into it and you believe, oh shit, like you lose trust, that was like a mixture between trust and faith, and then you have trust. And so if you're not paying attention to the kind of ideas that float around in your head, you may fall from grace, and then in the end you get, whatever the people that are afraid get, which maybe, and that's my personal opinion, I fucking hate still that I have to say that, so thank you YouTube for censoring everything. So you may get a vaccination in the end. Oh my god, I hope that's not too much now. I hope you won't ban me from this, Oh my god, I'm so afraid to say my opinion on here because it's so heavily censored. But nobody talks about it, do they? They just adapt to the rules. And that's what we do with the system. We just adapt to the rules because everybody's so goddamn afraid. And who made these rules? Well, it's man that did it. And men in the position of power that create rules to serve themselves are abusing their position of power to serve their own purposes. And so anything that is advertised heavily, be that a vaccination or any product, should be at least looked at with a certain amount of doubt and a critical eye, and not just blindly followed. And therefore, it has once more brought to my attention that somehow working out is important, and also maybe some form of exercise that, you know, cleanses your lungs. If you like breath work, I don't really like breath work, but I like breathing in general. You know, breathe into your stomach, go for walks in nature, climb, jump, roll in the mud like a dog, you know, like an animal that we're supposed to be descendants from. Whether that is a shrew or some kind of, I don't know what, you know, I don't know the things that science come up with, you know, the kind of stories they like to tell. It's interesting. The sheer variety of stories that you find from science, you know, they should just write books. Oh yeah, they do. Only people think it's truth, but it's just a story, right? It's one version of reality. Yeah, I love picking on science. Can't get enough of that. So after a good night's rest, I feel also more motivated to write again. I have a very, very strong urge to drink coffee still. I'm still debating within myself whether I should just ignore that and spread happiness in the world, or if I should drink coffee and feed my demon and then feel miserable once more and hate the world. So, you know, it's always a choice, right? I mean, of course, drinking that coffee will make me feel good in a way, but actually on the long run it's just gonna turn me into a specter, a wraith, a love-sucking leech. And that's the thing, like, I'm feeding my fears by drinking coffee, literally. I'm feeding my fears by, eating animals that have been slaughtered terribly. It just turns me into something that I actually don't want to be, and that's something that lives of the flesh of others. And if you go down that road, like, it's open end, right? I mean, hell is a big place and it's very deep. And if you do these things, it starts with the coffee and it continues with eating meat, and in the end you will lust for the flesh of humans. If only you were powerful enough to bribe the right people and to buy humans from the right people, so that you can eat them and feast on their flesh, right? I mean, that's the kind of depth that you may get only into if you're like really rich and powerful, and you see it in them. In some people you literally see it, and that there is great evil in them, and yet we listen to them and we allow them to stand in public and proclaim their lies. And it is our choice, because we are blind to the truth, because we're afraid of it, and we choose to live in the shadows because we're afraid to step out into the light. Crazy world that we live in.